So the Shulchan Aruch says like this, Sif Mem Zayin, that's what we're up to. Rabbi Maman mentioned something very interesting, that it could be yesterday I mentioned that in Sif Mem Hey it says a Sephardi is going to have a problem of a ball. That could be muksa. So I said, if you have the soccer ball and it's in the middle of the room or something, so for Sephardi it's going to be a problem because it's muksa and he won't even be able to kick it based on Shulchan Aruch Sif Mem Vav, because that's the normal way to move around the ball. So rightfully point out, if it's so dangerous, you that they also do it with the head. I don't know, but maybe with your hands. You're not allowed. I think in soccer, you're not allowed to touch it with the hands, right? I don't remember. But Al Kapanim, I'm American. We don't have it. But Al Kapanim, he's right. The chayyur, if it's mamish sakana, somebody's going to trip on it. It could be a kites. You have to know. Sometimes it could be in a hallway or something. It could be a kites, and it could be, for haraya, all of your mothers that screamed out, the ball of yours, somebody could trip and kill themselves, right? So then there must be something to it, otherwise she wouldn't have said it. No, that's l'chayr. So Sif Mem Zayin is like this. In Sif Mem Zayin, it says Yesha. Now again, these Shulchan Aruch, I don't know how much the Olam saw themselves. It's the last page of Siman Shin Chas. Let's learn it together. So whoever has Mishnah Berurah, we'll read it inside together, and I'll try to explain things. So Shulchan Aruch says like this. That's what we're trying to do today. We're trying to finish from Mem Zayin to Nun Beis, and then Bez Hashem tomorrow we can start Basis. Sorry? What? What did I say about pets? There's a common misconception. There's a misconception that people, I don't know where this came from, and people think that there's a difference if you own the pet or if somebody else owns the pet. There's a misconception that goes around. If you own the pet, then for you it's not muksa. Did anybody hear this? Or it's like there's a misconception. This is dreadfully stupid. No, I mean it doesn't have any basis at all. Does anybody know a basis for this? Anybody know any basis for this? What? No, because it's LMI. I said, Mom, what I said. No, the Veld says maybe because like feeding an animal, but that's not true. If you have an animal that is mizainos of olav, right? It could be, it's not even so punching that I won't be allowed to feed it. In other words, if he's already fed, then maybe not. But once he's a fed animal, okay, but that's already at least a shayla. Maybe at least that's where it came from. I don't know. There's no shayla. Those that held its muksa for everybody. The Rishonim that maybe possibly held it's not muksa, they held it's not muksa for anybody. We paskin it's muksa, so therefore we hold it's muksa for everybody. So therefore, this remains dreadfully unintelligent. And therefore, no one should ever be saimach on such a thing. And Nevada, certainly your Shemayim certainly doesn't move around animals on Shabbos. That's Pasha. Yom Tif is a different story, not cats, because you can't shech the cat. I hope that was clear yesterday. I was only talking about goats and chickens and schnitzels and things like that. I wasn't talking about cats and dogs and other, sorry? I say listen, it's inevitable. I've never ever seen anybody that walked a dog ever that didn't, that wasn't over on muksa. So, let's leave it like that. You want to know, is it possible to theoretically walk a dog in an oifim that's not muksa? It's probably possible, right? If he leads you the whole entire time and whatever, but, I don't, wouldn't be mamlet. Sif Mem Zayin. That Mem Zayin, all these sifim are very important sifim. They open us up to all types of interesting shaylas. There's no more at this point in Shin Ches. Shin Tes is basis, that's a new klal. In Shin Ches Kimat, there's no more klalim. So now you're going to get to go through some interesting applications that the Shulchan Aruch, that the Ramah, the Pais can have. Let's see what these are. Shulchan Aruch Sif Mem Zayin says like this: Yesh oisrim, the talful beged shatnez, the yesh matirim. What's this all about? Some hold it's mutter to carry a beged shatnez. A beged shatnez is yesh oisrim. The shita rishon is yesh oisrim. Yesh matirim. And some say that a beged of shatnez is mutter. What's this? So what are we talking about over here? The Mishnah Berurah in Kuf Samach Aleph, he says yesh matirim. What is this? He says first of all ikar kisvara harishayna, and therefore if you have goyish shatnez that are now mashkoinis for you or whatever. Let's say the guy. How are you gonna? Why you are gonna trust the guy? He's gonna give you. You're gonna lend him money, and the guy who says he's gonna pay you back. So the guy brings you his coat. Listen, it's in the summertime now. I'm gonna pay you back because come the winter, I need a coat, right? So the Mele says the Mishnah Berurah, we pass in the ikar shita like the shita rishona, the yesh oisim, and therefore we take on that a muksa beged, a shatnez beged is muksa. Okay, so now shatnez is muksa. What's the yesh matirim? What is this? Who's right? The yesh oisim. We know the psak. The psak is that it's aser. First of all, what type of muksa are we talking about here? This is part of the very big confusion at the end of these sifim in Shitches. Are we talking about muksa machmas gufay? Until now, the last 10 sifim, 15 sifim are all muksa machmas gufay, right? So we would imagine that when it says yesh oisrim over here, it's yesh oisrim meaning, and then it'll be a muksa machmas gufay. You can't move it, not l'tzarech gufay, not l'tzarech mekoymai. And then there's the yesh matirim. So what's the yesh matirim hold? So it's very interesting. The Mishnah Berurah over here is a little bit vague. He Kimat doesn't say anything over here. He says in Sivkat in Kuf Samech, right? He says, what is it? Because it's usher to wear it, and therefore it's muksa, and therefore it's usher, even l'tzarech gufay mekoymai. Now, the Mishnah Berurah explained that in the shita that asers. And the shita that aser holds, it's muksa machmas gufay. What's the shita that's makel? So I would have thought like this. The shita that's makel tell you that, no, nachaltz is a kli. Nachaltz is a kli. Elamai, it's a kli that you have no usage for this kli. You can't go and use a beged shatnez because, like what are you doing with it? Elamai, you could theoretically go and do some weird thing with it, but it's not oimid for that, right? You could cover your pots with it. You could do something weird with it or something, right? Which isn't even so pashut. It could be an ilchas shatnez. We don't let you use shatnez towels and shatnez drapes because we're afraid you're going to warm yourself. We don't let you use a shatnez rug. You're not allowed to have a shatnez couch or whatever, So, but let's say somebody will come along and he'll say, okay, you know what? I can't use it, obviously, right? But what is it? Nachaltz, it's a kli. It's still a kli. A beged is still a kli. A garment that was fashioned into a garment. Elamai, you have an isser that you can't use this kli. And what's that isser? Is that an isser Shabbos? It's not an isser Shabbos. It's an isser mitzad hilchos shatnez, right? So what is that? So the Mishnah Berurah brings in the second, the Iker Shita, we'll call it, the Shulchan Aruch Shita, the Yesh Yisrael, is that's a muksa machmas gufay. Something that I can't use for its own usage. I can't use it. It's totally useless. So, and I'll say stronger, even during the week, you can't use it. Now you're talking. So that means this isn't even category 2. Category 2 is something that at least had a shame of a kli during the week. This is something that even during the week, it doesn't have a shame of a kli. So it has a maila and a chesaron. It's a maila mitzad the fact that it's not an isser of Shabbos. But it has a chesaron that the isser involved is an isser even throughout the week. What is this thing? So the Mishnah Berurah brings down 2 shitas. Shita number 1 is that that's a muksa machmas gufay. I mean, this is not a kli. A kli is something at least that you could use during the week. And if you were miyached it to be, I don't know, what are you going to miyached it for? Well, handkerchief's old enough, but nothing's pashut in Hilchos Shatnez, what you'd be allowed to use it for. But yeah, maybe. If you miyached it to be a shmata for the floor, okay? That's the case I do know the answer to. The other ones are all shver. But let's say you miyached it to be a shmata on the floor, or let's say you miyached it, let's say you have a dog. We've been talking about Fido for the last 3 days. So you miyached it to be a doggy sweater. It doesn't say anywhere that Fido or Lassie, right, is not allowed to have a doggy sweater made of shatnez. No, it's a non-shatnez. So if you're miyached it to be a doggy sweater for Lassie, so then it's not a problem. That is not a problem. But until you do that, what is it? It's a beged who you can't use during the week. So that's the chiddush of the Mishnah Berurah. It's not a kli. We're going to see nafkaminas of other cases which are much more negeya. So halsach kaf, Rabbi. That means if you have something which is not able to be used during the week, it's a kli that you can't use during the week. So then that doesn't have a shame of a kli. And therefore it's muksa machmas gufa. That's the shita rishoyin in the Mishnah Berurah. The shita shniya, which we don't paskin like, says that it's mutter. What does it mean it's mutter? You don't know. Maybe mutter just means it's a kli shematali iser. Don't get confused. When you're in hilchos muksa at this stage in the game, when I say something is muksa, I mean gufay. When I say something is mutter, yesh ladin. Maybe it means it's mutter gomer. Maybe it means it's a kli shematali iser. In the Mishnah Berurah, I do not know. I'm not 100% sure. The Aruch HaShulchan is unbelievable chiddush in the Aruch HaShulchan. You know what the Aruch HaShulchan says? He says, you know what it means over here, the shita that holds its muksa? Pum fakir pum, from everything I just said. He said the shita that holds muksa, he says there's no way it's more muksa than kli shematali iser. It's not muksa machmas gufay. Unbelievable. This is the same Aruch HaShulchan that held of category 2. You remember that Aruch HaShulchan that he held that if you have something that's not usable on Shabbos, so then that becomes muksa machmas gufay. The Aruch HaShulchan says this beged Shabbos, no way is it more muksa than a kli shematali iser. So what's the side of the yesh matirim? Mutter gomer. So what's this? What is this? What's the pshat in Aruch HaShulchan? He's learning that that I don't know, it's unbelievable chiddush. He's learning that here has nothing to do with Shabbos. The isser involved over here has nothing to do with Shabbos. The beged Shabbos has nothing to do with Shabbos. So what is it? It's an isser davar acher. So is it called a kli? For sure. Elamai, maybe it's a kli shemalachta isser. Maybe he's not sure because you can't actually b'poil use it on Shabbos. What's the other side? The other side is that it's mutter. What's the time it's mutter? Because it's mitzad hilchos Shabbos. It's not. It's kli. Mitzad hilchos Shabbos is a kli. Unbelievable chiddush. But yeah, I was thinking that also. Let's say you have something like a treifa newspaper or something like that, right? So you can't use it during the week either, right? So it'll come out. That's not an isser. No, so there it's an isser mitzad Shabbos because it's also shtar idiotis. That's not a good example. Well, we'll see examples in a moment, but that's not such a good example because then it's mitzad Shabbos. There's also an isser of shtar idiotis. No, that it's shtar idiotis. Shtar idiotis is aser. No. We'll get to shtar. I'm talking about what he's talking about. He's talking about something else. A treifa newspaper. I'm not talking about Davar Shel Chacham. But there's something that we'll see. That there is a whole shaila about it. Chacham will get there and see if Nun is about that. But Akapanim, that's why it doesn't work out. What? Well, so that I'm going to get to. So let's see. That's l'chayra. That's the need, and at least now you understand what's going on here. Rabbi says. So when you read the Shulchan Aruch, you got to really outcome. First of all, there's a maila that it's not an issa mitzad Shabbos. Then there's a chesaron that it's not usable kiuzeklal. So what is this thing? Our psak, of course, is like Mishabura. Mishabura says it's a muksa machmas kufay. That means you learn to your side. Something, number one, I don't care if something is asr mitzad Shabbos to generate the name muksa. Number two is that once it's muksa, it's a total muksa. It's a muksa machmas kufay. It's something like, that doesn't have a shame of kli. This is an awesome chiddush, Rabbi said, because this is the same Mishabura that held category 2 is a kli shemlach yeser. Remember, we spoke many times, right? According to Mishabura, this thing over here, right? This thing is a kli shemlach yeser according to Mishabura. Even though there's no use you can have for it on Shabbos, Tarach HaShulchan held this thing is a muksa machmas gufay. Right? Unbelievable, no? It's unbelievable. Because he says, look, there's nothing you can do with it except for its yeser. The Mishabura would hold, no, it's a kli shemlach yeser. Why? Because it's called a kli. Who cares what the kli on Shabbos? I care if it's in essence, if it's called a kli, that it is called a kli. Unbelievable. Very big insight. That's number one. Number two, and again, hagam that it's right to cover an animal with, or it's right to shmat the floor with, but it's not oimid for that until you're a miyachid. That's l'chayr. Now, Grada. What if you have like this? I saw they bring to Feres Yisrael. Feres Yisrael has a wonderful sefer called the Kallus Shabbos. If you read the Kallus Shabbos, you'll know most of Hilchos Shabbos, at least on a basic level. But Feres Yisrael is in the Mishnayos. In the beginning over there, as Akadama, he has like a 10-page Akadama. If you learn through the Kallus Shabbos, it's Feres Yisrael, you'll know most of, unbelievable, you'll know most of Hilchos Shabbos. In the Haim, they didn't let you read the sefer, but that should be a big stavera, that sefer. But to say, he says over there in Muksa Ois Beis, he says, unbelievable chiddush. He says, maybe this is why they didn't let you read the Sefer Naim. He says, if you have over there a garment which shatn is arangamished mamish, totally arangamished, and you can't get it out. So he says, unbelievable chiddush there. He says, well, so now for sure you're never going to use it. So now you're going to have no choice but to be miyachid it for something that's mutter, right? In other words, you can't wear it, right? So in essence, you're for sure going to have to give it to your chicken, like a chicken sweater or something like that, right? But you're for sure going to have to do something mutter with it. That's what he says there. So he says, it's not muksa. It's an unbelievable chiddush. Not so mashma like that in the Shulchan Aruch. What? What would you do? Would throw it out? So Elamai, the only question is on him. So Rav Shlomo Zalman asked on the Feres Yisrael, what's the problem? Just sell it. So what's the answer to that? So that's a Gemara. It's Pelad Rav Shlomo Zalman. You're not allowed to sell a beged of shatnez because Chazal said that if you sell a beged of shatnez to a guy, to a Jew, chas v'chalila, help me out here, to a Jew, chas v'chalila, to a guy, you're not allowed to sell a beged shatnez. The Gemara says, Shulchan Aruch Paskins like this, because we're afraid he's going to sell it to a Jew, an unsuspecting Jew. Because fakert, he's going to, somebody will see you, a Jewish person selling it to a guy, you'll think it's a bekisha, think it's a tveistishvas, right? So then you're not allowed to. So then that's the answer to Shlomo Zalman. So the Feres Yisrael says, unbelievable chiddush over here. If you have something which has oimid for no usage, so then the halacha is, unbelievable chiddush, no? If you have something that's oimid for no usage, so then behechlet you're going to use it. In other words, you can't use it as a beged of shatnez, and you can't get it out because it's mamish mixed in, and you can't get it out. Let's say, so he says the guy government's not muksa because you'll find some mutatika usage to use it for, like an animal. That's what he says there. I don't know. It does not sound like that in Shulchan Aruch. It doesn't sound like that in Shulchan Aruch. And Pashtus says it's not like that. Pashtus is not like that. I guess the pshat being is that until you were actually miyachid it, So the beged was made as to be a beged, and therefore the yichud was made by the person that made it, and until you actually the poil change that and give it over to Fido or to the chicken or to Tom or to Jerry or whatever, until that point. So then the halacha is that supply does mux. Okay, so far clear? What? I'm getting that. But so far what we spoke about is clear? So far clear? Clear. Okay, now like this. So what happens? A guy comes to the house. You know, why is the guy coming to the house on Shabbos? Why did he come? What's the answer? What? No, I don't know why the guy's coming to the house, but it says in the Shulchan Aruch, you're allowed to invite him. So I don't know. You just on Yom Tov, you can't invite the guy to the house because you're going to cook for him on Yom Tov. But on Shabbos, you can't cook for him, so you can invite the guy to the house on Shabbos. So I don't know why, but it says in Shulchan Aruch that you can invite him to the house. It's still fine. So the guy comes into the house, and it's freezing cold out there, you know? It's some of you, it reminds you of the English winters. No, it reminds you a little bit of it, no? So there the guy comes in. Here's the guy. He takes his, he takes off of what's he wearing? His coat, takes off his backer shirt and everything, and he gives you his coat. His coat is filled with shatnez. What are you talking? He's got all wool in there, and he's got linen and everything in there. He's one big shtick shatnez. Let's say even more. Let's say he tells you, this coat is so warm and so strong because it's wool and the buttons are made of pishtin. Pishtin is the strongest type of a thread. That's why in an expensive item, you very well might find shatnez. It's not like up because it's the finest thread. So Meli says this coat is of the finest nature, the finest wool, and he doesn't, I don't know, somebody should tell him that if it would be cashmere, that's even more expensive, then it wouldn't be a problem with shatnez, right? Cashmere is made of like little goatees and things like that. But he tells you, no, this was made of a goat. I sheared it myself, right? And then the actual buttons are sewn on with pishtin, okay? So now he gives you the coat, mommy, what do you do now? You're not going to take the coat, he's going to punch you in the nose, right? You're going to let it drop on the floor. So are you allowed to take the guy's coat? Did I get the guy's coat? So there's a graz. The graz in Sivkot and Pehei, yesterday when I said Pehei, I meant this, I made a mistake. But the graz in Sivkot and Pehei, he says it's not muksa. It's not muksa. I guess the pshat is that it's a kli that's oimid for a usage, and it's the most wonderful usage. Why did the Helik Bashefer make shatnez for the goyim, for them and for the goyim? Let them wear the shatnez. So Mela, what's the muksa? Mishabur is a little bit much like that too. Mishabur says by the mashkoinis. Okay, it's not really mashma, but Mishabur says by the mashkoinis of a guy. If you have in your house a mashkin, so then that's a little bit of a different story because now you have a kinyan in that. So that you can hear is oyimid for you and whatever. That's already a problem of shatnez. But if it's the Helik Balatani, he says that if the guy's coat, the guy in Lubab, he had a coat. He handed you the coat when you came into the house. The Graz says you're allowed to take the coat. You're allowed to hang it up. You don't have to let it drop on the floor. It's not moksa. So I saw. Does it sound right? Does it sound right? I mean, the Graz doesn't need. But I'm saying it sounds like even without the Graz, we probably would have said it ourselves, right? So I saw Peldik Maisa. There's a sefer called there's another a journal called the Alibid El-Chasa. I didn't see it inside. I saw a sefer bring down that, meaning until after I didn't see it inside. I saw a sefer bring down where Chaim Kanievsky said not like the Graz, which already sounds a little bit weird. I mean, let's say he's saying the Mishabura is not like the Graz. It's not the derech of Chaim Kanievsky's time to chaylik on the Graz. It's a weird thing. So he writes, so Chaim Kanievsky is not like the Graz. And Chaim Kanievsky says that a coat of a guy, no, it's mamish enough gemina. Rabbi said you're in a place, there's a coat on your couch. You don't know if his coat is shatnez or not. You have to assume his coat is shatnez, maybe. Yeah, depends. Well, something muksa maybe later. Okay, but anyways, so you have like Lamashal in Rusland. Let's say you're in Uman. Why would you be in Uman? What? Rosh Hashanah. Why would you be there for Rosh Hashanah? What? Because didn't he say Nachman that if you go to Uman and Rosh Hashanah, so he's going to take you out of Gehenna or something? What do you say? Okay, later. Oh. Yeah, if you learn Torah, then you don't need his help. Barnishal will take you out of Gehenna. It also depends on these guys. If you have what they tell us in the Sat Mecheda, what they tell us. If you have the big payas like this, right? So then from Avinu Nemsach, he takes you out by the payas, right? If you have the little ones like the modern guys have, right? It hurts. He'll get you out, but it hurts a lot. He'll pull you like this, right? And the guys that have no payas, nothing doing. Right? That's what they. I don't know if you get out of Gehenna for having payas. I could pun him, but Tachlis Geret, so this guy, you're in Oman. In Oman, everything is shatnez. Everything is shatnez, you know, except for the tzion, everything is shatnez over there, right? I'm not joking. Everything is shatnez there. People go there, they don't realize this. You try and find like a little shtibel to stay in or whatever, and the guy for the 12 rubles and kopecks and whatever that you give him, right, and a can of Coke and a picture of the Rebbe and whatever. So he gives you what? He gives you a blanket. You know what goes on there, right? Inside the blanket, it's a weird feeling blanket. It's all mushy and weird and everything. So you find out what is it? It's his sweater, it's Olga's sweater, it's Perestroika sweater, it's vodka. That's what goes on. I'm telling you, and that's all shatnez. You can't sleep with that. Even you're not allowed to sleep with that. It's a gomer. It's a gomer. The bed is made of shatnez. Everything is shatnez. Hakol shatnez. Hakol bakol mikol. Okay. Anyways, how we get into that? Okay, shatnez. So here you are in Uman. You're in Rusland, and he hands you on Shabbos. He says, "Oh, you seem like you're freezing cold," and he hands you this blanket. You know now that thing is muksa, right? So now. Are you going to be, well, it's not really negayah there because he's handing, that's even a more difficult case. Right? He's giving it to you for you to borrow. I don't know, that's even worse. Later. Anyways, if he's giving you his own coat, here, this is my coat. I feel bad that you're cold, right? I'd be very nervous if a Russian fellow felt bad and started giving you his coat, but he said, here, I feel bad, you're cold, take my coat, right? So B'kai Govna, the Rav Chaim Kanievsky will tell you, drop it on the floor, right? But the Lubavitcher, the Baal Tanya, he was Asrei Demar. He was asking Ma'aseh, you have to listen to his psak. But it sounds weird to say that it's. So I looked inside the Alibah de Hilchasa. I'll tell you what he says. I'm not 100% sure how to read it. I asked an expert of in the Hebrew language how to read it. He wasn't 100% sure. But I'll tell you what the shayla is. They asked for Chaim Kanievsky the shayla. I didn't write the Hebrew. I wrote it. I just translated it in English. They asked for Chaim Kanievsky is a guy's coat that he hands you to hang up. Is it the way it started out was, is it mutter to hang up, lit lice? Are you allowed to hang up the coat or not because it's muksa? That was the question, right? It's the same question, right? Is it mutter to hang it up, right? Or not because it's muksa? Chaim Kanievsky answered back these words, lama lo. Lama lo. So that Sefer understood what lama lo muksa, right? So somebody's looking at us to make sure he's not trying to hurt us, right? He's okay? Okay. The lama lo, how would you learn lama lo? He read lama lo muksa. He read lama lo muksa. I think he's wrong. I think lama lo, that's why he made a mistake, because what do you mean lama lo? I asked you, is it muksa? So he said lama lo. So I'm telling you lama lo. Lama lo is because it's ad muksa. He should have said lo. But I don't think that's a pshat. I think Chaim Kanievsky means lama lo. Why shouldn't you be able to hang up his coat? He's a guy. Why should the world should it be muksa? Okay, that's what I think. I'm not sure, but the grass is mefurish. So therefore, if he hands you the coat, it's not muksa. That's another case. Now, another case is like this. I saw Shlomo Zalman as a suffix in Pei Beis in Shulchan Shlomo. He says, he's a very interesting suffix. He says, let's say you have one thread that's muksa of shatnez. You know, there's one thing that's shatnez. Someone told you, oh, that baguette, the button has, that button over there is a problem with shatnez. It's the easiest thing in the world to take out, but it's shatnez. You find this out on Shabbos. Okay, Shlomo Zalman is sad that it's not muksa, because the tikkun is so easy. I didn't understand Shlomo Zalman. I could a little bit understand Shlomo Zalman. Maybe he could give us a glimpse into the whole sugya. What does Shlomo Zalman mean? He means that, till now when you have a shatnez beged, it's a parsha, so it's not even a kli during the week. Here, it's so easy to fix. Now you can appreciate the sugya a little bit. It's so easy to fix that how could you say it's not a kli during the week? I just have to take out thread. Maybe that gives you an understanding of what the tzad was over here. The tzad was, it's like, it's not a beged during the week. All I have to do is take out a thread. Of course, it's a beged during the week. That's the need. It would probably be maybe still a kli shel machal yeser. I'm not sure. Maybe that'll be category 2 and it's not books, not sure. But that's, he then dons, what if you have a kli, which is oimid for hagalas kalim or tfilas kalim with the same type of lumdis? All you have to do is a simple thing. It's a simple process, right? So he's not sure if that becomes muksa, because it's oimid for a simple process. So who says that loses the shame kli when all you have to do is do a simple thing? Come again? That's where it's like, not over here, the kli is done. It's just a halachic issue. Now, one last thing is the case that's negay all of us. The case negay all of us is what happens if he has a beged and he didn't check it for shatnez. So that moksa. This very negay, right? I mean, you have a chasana suit or whatever, and you want to show it on Shabbos to somebody. You want to show it's okay. You don't want to try it on because it doesn't have. You didn't check it for shatnez yet, but you want to show people the suit, and you want to just take it out and say, "Do you like the suit?" Right? Very negay, right? So what's the nice? Somebody got about a year ago. He showed me a tie. He said, do I have to check this tie for Shabbos? Came to me on Shabbos with the tie. My first brain thought was, wait a minute, we got a bigger problem. If you can have a problem of Shabbos, you have a problem of books. I told him, since when do you have to check a tie for Shabbos? He says to me, look on the back. Look on the back. I look on the back. The tie is made, it says, they have the little thing on the bottom of the tie, which tells you what it's made with, right? So it says, made with wool and linen. I told him, you don't have to check. You don't have to check. You don't have to check. Now you know. Givaldi. I'm just Givaldi. No, because are you going to say a tie is not a beged? A tie is a beged. Of course a tie is a beged. Even in Hilchot Shabbos, maybe it's a tasha, but it keeps you warm. The tie keeps you warm, and the tie is a beged. And even if it wouldn't keep you warm, it's a beged in halacha. Kappa Hilchot Shabbos, it's certainly a beged. There's no shabbos. So I told him, you don't even have to check. The tie is taka shabbos. Now, but then it's right away clearing. Wait a minute. So this thing is l'chayr muksa, right? Okay, his case is easy. Our case we'll talk about in a moment. His case is easy. It's checkmate, right? What? Oh, so night. Once you're holding muksa, so then already, maybe you put it down. It's also hefsid. So I told but to go back to his house, I told him he has to leave the tie here. So I went. He put the tie right over there, right? What? He wasn't wearing it. He was holding the tie. He was holding the tie. What? No, I mean, so the truth is, now that I think about it, you're probably right. At the time, I was thinking, I don't know, you could take out this and that. Probably in a tie, there's nothing you could do. And then in hindsight, I realized afterward that he probably, so let's see. It's not even a hefsid. What could he do with such a tie? What can you do with such a tie, right? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? For your dog? What are you going to do? A doggy tie? Isn't there such thing? What? So you're going to use it as a leash, like the most expensive leash, right? Actually, the leashes are probably very expensive, right? I'm sorry? Come again? What's nafkamina? I got a thought also that it's probably that thing in the inside, right? What's nafkamina? Let me just rip it out, right? Yeah, okay. Don't worry, the tie has been disposed of. But the point is that taka, that was a real case of muksa, a real emistic case of muksa, right? But wait, one moment. So now what? Yeah, if he's wearing it, you have to take it off the shina or something. What? Big shaila. I mean, you have to know if they're from, if they're not from. What from store is selling a tie with wool and linen? Stumble is a non-from store, and then you have a problem. They'll sell it to Nimrod and whatever. Nimrod's a Jew. So it's like this. So, but what about in general? By side, what about if you have a tie, anything? You have a suit, and you didn't check the suit for Shabbos. Okay, very negeya. Is it muksa? So this I saw in the Shmir Shabbos Kilchasa in the 20th parak in the 38th ois. He says it's muksa. He says, because the Maisa, you can't wear it, so it's muksa. That's about. And I saw the Maisa, every single sefer just brings down the Shmir Shabbos. Shmir Shabbos is one of the great Ketzas Varim and Hilchos Shabbos. Everyone just brings down the Shmir Shabbos. And if you have a suit which is not checked yet for muksa, for shatnez, das is muksa. Wait, slowly. So I'm not sure. Kleimar, Lashmili, Kleimar Lashvirli. I don't know. I'm not convinced. Let's go in order. If it's it depends. If you buy it in, let's go in order. You buy it in Eretz Yisrael. You buy it in a Heimish store in America. A regular Heimish store. Most. Am I right that most people when they buy their suits, most of our people they buy it in a Heimish store in America or no? A suit store. What? No, it's not like that. No, not after. Okay, fine. Not after. Okay, let's go in order. If you buy your suit in a Heimish store, Heimish doesn't mean like you would make a shidduch with the guy. I mean it's from person. What? He's a firm guy, right? So he's dealing with let's change it. Rabbi said, if you're dealing with someone whose primary clientele is from Jews, right? So then, I think the numbers are probably a miyat she'enei matzi of having shatnez. Why? Because, within one day, there would be, posted all over, beware of this story selling shatnez or whatever and things like that, right? Generally, if I'm not mistaken, the other can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. In Eretz Yisrael, the kubal over here is most of the time they're not selling shatnez. Certainly not. And in the Chutz La'aretz, I think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. But just a moment. But they tell you, we'll see in a minute. We're machmir to check it. We'll go in order. We have to first learn Hilchos Shatnez, then Hilchos Muksa. But I think most of the time, it's rare. Has anybody in this room bought a suit in a Heimish store and it came back shatnez? What? Heimish store and came back shatnez? Yeah? Okay. But it's rare. You see, it's rare. I mean, you're rare. I don't want to say it in public, but you're causing me to say it. Right? I'm saying it's rare. Did anybody else? Okay, so let's say not that suit a minute. Let's say there are, right, that I hear also. Sometimes it's like a certain suit, they tell you, listen, this suit, a lot of people have shatnez or whatever. But I think most of the oilam never had shatnez come back when you bought an Haim. No, it's true. I think so. What's the nafkamina? Rabbi said, listen closely. Don't listen to what I just said, right? You should still check. Because the Chayyot says to check. The Zohar says, if you're wearing a shatnez beggar, the Kosh Baruch Hu doesn't answer your tefillah. And everybody buys a new suit. If it's Rosh Hashanah, this and that, he comes right down and you get Rosh Hashanah. That's, nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. Well, how do you let it try it on? So that's the halacha. And if you have something which the only reason you have to check it is a chumrah and whatever, and you're not doing it like kavanas levisha, so then the kai gavna, we allow you to try it on. It's based on the whole sugya over there of shatnez. My Muslim, when we learn shatnez together, I'll speak about this more. But is it not? All the places can say it's not kavanas levisha. Yeah, that's good by a jacket, right? But then when you come out over there and and there's that that guy who was there, that yeshiva guy who became the suit store guy, says, come out, let me see what it looks like. He's poking you around and the hoizin over there, the whole what I'm talking about, right? And it's going like this to you and like this to you. I'm not asking questions, but he's going like this and like this, right? And he's looking and looking. You're not doing it for Kavanas Levisha. You're out in the middle of Ocean Parkway over there, right? What do you mean? Are you happy that you're wearing pants? Or no, you're just doing it to see the fit. If I wouldn't, so then it would certainly be weird if he was poking around, right? It would be even weirder. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know, but when we learn shatnez, we'll have to deal with that shaila. Maybe the Chayyot was talking about a bekisha. Maybe he wasn't talking about the trousers. That means like the pants and whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get involved though because it's a sensitive topic. But anyways, no. But certainly if it's like a miyat. We're doing it as a chumrah. I'm calling the description I just described, you could certainly try on, because the whole reason why we are checking that case that I just described for shatnez is a chumrah. Because we check even a miyat she'ein amatzi, whatever, we check, and everybody should check, right? But what happens on Erev Rosh Hashanah? A Yid called me up, I was thinking Erev Hashanah. A Yid called me up Erev Hashanah. He told me he bought in a store, which they tell you to check, but they told him a firish that we never had shatnez yet in any of our lines and any of our thing. But they said you could check because we don't want to take a chayis and this and that and whatever. So I told him you should check. He said to me, okay, but I don't have a suit for Rosh Hashanah and the shatnez place, they're closed and this and that and whatever, and he doesn't have a suit and this and that, whole story and whatever. It's okay. So I was makel, because Medina you don't have to check. So all I'm trying to say is I don't have a kash on the Shmir Shabbos. I'm just trying to say the Metzias, 90% of the cases that we are checking for shatnez is chumrah. And if that's the case, I would even let you wear it. I'm going to let you wear it. So kavachaymer, that it's certainly not muksa. If there's an oifim where I'm going to let you wear it, then it's certainly not going to be muksa. That's the chayra. It's an interesting idea, but that's the chayra. Is there any question on that before I go weiter? What? Sorry? What about Bayim? Oh, okay. So now in Hilchos Shatnez, if you buy something from a grocery store, it's the same idea, right? Let's say we'll go to all the countries. We'll go on the derech of the airplane. We'll go to England first, right? The Spencer and Mark, his stuff over there is B'derek Klal. They're called not Shatnez, right? And he's not a Jew. Mark is Heisnish Menachem and Spencer Heisnish Zundel or whatever, right? It's a goy gomer, right? He's a gomer goy, right? So I'm saying I'm not saying you should check it or whatever. I think the minhag is to check it probably, right? What? Yeah, because they have found, and it's like but afazei vait is it's muksa. Now let's go further onto the Atlantic. I don't think in Greenland they have any of these stuff. So you go down to New York. He goes to New York and he's going to a store which doesn't deal with Heimish at all, right? No, I'm saying because otherwise we would know probably, right? We would probably know if he was dealing with a Heimish clientele. So then we would know in the last month we would have heard people saying beware and whatever. That's also worth something. That's all. In Allah, I'm not saying not to check. I know what's going to happen. You walk out here, you don't have to check. He didn't say that. You should check, right? I check. But mitzad sheni, to go and check and to say to go and say ad kidei kach das is muksa. So that's muksa. That's far as muksa. Now, so you're going to a store. So maybe you're out of town. I don't know, maybe outside New York or something. Where? In England. Yeah. Savile Road. Okay. And what? Okay, so he's making it from scratch. And he might have in the backyard, he might have a piston tree, right? So is it muksa? I hear it. I hear it a little bit because mistama it's a stuff. Yeah, but it's a deraisa. Yeah, it's a deraisa. Especially if it's expensive. Because if it's expensive and it's tailor made, right? Then it's tailor. So then then it would make sense that they're using. There's no chazaka that they're not using pishtim. If it's a cheapy thing, that's why something like your friend Spencer over there, right? So there, the pshat is that why would he use the best threads when he doesn't have to? It's elamai in a line that they ran out of thread, they might use it. We don't have to be chayshish for that. Mashenkin, if he's tailor making it, so then of course you have to be worried. He's making it on the highest level. Then you would have to be chayshish. Mistama, it's a something there, right? So Mistama, the kai governor, it's even a shiloh to try it on. It's even a child to try it on. Well. Yeah, but it's a shiloh of how we fear tzach with the item. You first have to pass in the shiloh klape the shatnez, and then nach them we pass in the shiloh. It's a big side in smekes. We're not going to pass in the shiloh based on the muksa shiloh. First we pass in the shiloh based on the shatnez. Once we showing oiske pass in das is shatnez by us. So then let's fate the shiloh's muksa. So bleibt das tak in muksa. Was? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm saying so fancy guy that we have the balatanya. The Balatanya told me it has a shame of a kli because Ivan uses it, right? And Olga, whatever, Olga also uses it. So that's not a problem. That's Chaim Kanievsky doesn't argue on that. I don't see why. He needs lamalo, right? Why would it be muksa? Lamalo. Why can't you hang up the coat? What? Sorry. No, but I'm saying today with mass media, mass communication, people would know. It's not true. People know. I don't know. If in Eretz Yisrael there's no shiloh, it would be in the Apet. Right? People know for sure. They would know. People know. Again, I'm not saying not to chat. I'm saying, but the fact that we have communication and we're not hearing it is enough of a svara that I could say that there's chazakas in the world. There's enough of a chazaka that I would hear if something is a shot. I remember about 4 years ago, there was a store here in Eretz Yisrael. There was one Zman where people were all talking. It's okay. So you see that people would talk. Granted, they were all talking. What did they probably have? Probably had 3 cases, right? And probably, but so if it wasn't even shatnez, it was takabas b'chalav. You have to know with these things. In halacha it makes enough gemina. What? Boss. Hashem is the boss. Hugo is not the boss. But what about this character? Yeah. 98% character, that's the biggest raya. It's nicht the boss. The Halakha Shefer is the boss. So why would somebody buy from this Hugo character? Right? So you're not even allowed to would buy from this guy. What? You wouldn't be able to try that on. If it's 98, if it's Muksik in China, he's not even allowed to try it on. Okay. Right? What? He's a Nazi? Oh, it says it's German. Why? It's in the collar. Okay, so that's a problem. It's a problem. For sure a problem. But yeah, so the pants usually not. Okay, so I guess you could try on the pants. It's like going to the restaurant tasting the food before you know. No. So the longest is it's a sugya in Psachim called Eina Miskavim. That even though it's a psik ratio, but when it comes to Hana, so when Hana, there's a whole sugya. Rav Shimon Shkop has in Shai Yosha about this. That in order to be over on this Hana, you have to be bedafka doing Hana. Hana doesn't work with psik ratios and whatever. That's the whole sugya over there of the tznudim that they wear, the begadim. They carry it. They don't wear it on their body because it's shalosh shatim. It's a ganze sugya. That's. Let's go weiter. Let's go weiter. No. Ask inside. We got to go weiter. Now, what are the nafkaminas of these cases? I'm staying around today, so you'll ask upstairs. What are the nafkaminas? The nafkaminas is like this. Rabbi said. So that's shatnez, okay? This shaila has other ramifications. The shaila of shatnez is not just a local shaila; it's a global shaila. What do I mean? So let's go one by one through other cases and don them together because we don't have a mishabura. Let's say I have in my house a basar nevela, tray for meat. How do you have basar nevela in your house? Why you have a tray for meat? How did it happen? Okay, Muncie Butcher, I made the whole story, but that's already, pushing it, Most people were just probably so echoed, they just wanted to throw it out or whatever. But let's say somebody gives you a tray for candy or whatever, the goyish neighbor, he wants to, for Hanukkah, he wants to give you he buys you these, he says, look, I found these hot dogs and Hebrew national, they're kosher for you, whatever, and he gives you mamish treifka, okay? So now you have all this treif in the house. So what are you going to do with it? So is that muksa? Is that oibid for the dog? because you don't have a dog, whatever, easier, right? You don't have a dog, so what do we do? Is this muksa? This is interesting thing. This is something that during the week I can't use for its intended purpose because it's also to use. It's the same thing as shatnez, right? I can't use it for its intended purpose. I need to eat. That's its intended purpose. It's a beggar shatnez. So the thing is muksa machas gufa. You have it in your freezer. It's very negay, right? You have these hot dogs in your freezer, the candy and the it says in it, don't touch, treif and whatever, but somehow it got into a place, and then now you let them, or you have, what's the halacha? What's the halacha? There's no mishabru about this. What? Oh, so the Maisa, let's say like this. Let's say you don't have a dog, or there's no dogs in the neighborhood. Maybe you could say, what? Oh, so Elamai. So it's complicated, right? So I saw like this. I saw the Yitzchak Yikar of Nebensaul in his Mishnah Berurah. He says that it's like a beged shatnez and it's aser. It's aser. Now I'm not 100% convinced. He says it's a muksa machmas gufa like a beged shatnez. He learns it's the same thing. Now the Olam was asking me. That was my first question. How could you compare it to a beged shatnez? A beged shatnez you're not allowed to sell. I just told you. You're not allowed to sell to a guy. This I'm allowed to sell to a guy. So it's not useless. Elamai. So make it a kli shemlach al yeser. It's a kli, that meaning it's not a kli, right? But it's not oichel in the conventional sense. The chazal, this is not the type of oichel that chazal we're not goyzer on, obviously, right? So it's a kli. It's an item whose function is to do something usser, even though it's not an isser of Hilchos Shabbos. So I'm not even convinced it's a kli shemlach al yeser because it's not an isser of Shabbos, and I'm allowed to sell it. So maybe it's an isser because the only thing you could do with it is sell it. And then like the Olam is saying, what are most of us going to do? We're not selling it, right? What are all of us going to do with it? We're going to give it to a guy. We're going to give it to the cleaning lady. Or we're going to find a way where it's not like sechanim, you want it to work better or whatever. And you're going to give it to the guy. So, and that's what it's oimid for by us. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not afraid to argue on him, but I don't know. I was thinking it's not even muksa at all. I think it's not even muksa. What is it oimid for now? It's not like a beged shatnez. A beged shatnez you're not allowed to give to the guy, right? But here, what's it oimid for? It's oimid for a guy to eat. Why is that muksa? Why is that muksa? I don't know. Anybody know? No? You'd probably ask me, right? So I don't know. Anybody know? I don't even know why not. I mean, because it means matana. You're not allowed to give matana on Shabbos. Okay, fine. So you're only allowed to give, and chanami. There'd be an issue to give it on Shabbos. So the most it'll be is a kli shemlach al yeser, but I'm not convinced because it's not an isser. Maybe it's a kli shemlach al yeser. That much I'll accept. Okay, maybe it'll be a kli shemlach al yeser because the only thing you can do with it is something that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. Okay, so maybe we did connect it to Shabbos. It's something who's, even though that's not inherent in the cheftza, right? It's just memela, but okay, maybe it's a kli shemlach al yeser. No, it's a tremendous nafkamino. If it's blocking you, according to what I'm saying, you're going to be allowed to move it over. I don't see why not. Another case, what? What? If the guy actually comes to the house, you're a guy that came to the house before. So now you can tell, this is mamish murder. Here, I have these hot dogs and everything, and you eat them raw. You told me, no? Who's the one that said they eat raw hot dogs over here? What? Somebody over here said they eat raw hot dogs. What? So you can eat them raw even. And he's a guy. He for sure. These guys, they for sure. So what's the Maisa? Would it even be muksa? I guess maybe if there's no goy coming to your house on Shabbos, it's not normal for you. So then maybe it's a kli shemlach. But anyways, you're not doing anything with it except for tzarek guf and mekoymai, right? So a kapanim, I think that wouldn't be a problem. Number one. What? Come again? And still, you can't say it's muksa, right? No matter how from you are, you can't say vayit. What? So Rabbi Nut is a big shayla because Rabbi Nut is not a hechsher, it's just chatzi treif, right? It's half treif, so you can't eat it. You can't eat it, but to say that, first of all, what's the difference? It's oimid for all the people that eat it. So, I mean, pardon my French, but rough, right? I mean, what's a maishna from just like when something is oimid for dogs, so this is oimid also for all the people around you. But so then why is it treif food? It's oimid for the goyim. I don't understand. A beged shatnez is not oimid. I don't understand what that is. So I don't understand that. So how could it be a goy is different than a dog, right? A dog, there's not a joke. If I have an animal, and we said before, it's not told if you're allowed to feed the animal. No, you tricked me. Who tricked me? You're Rabbi Gottman. Get out, right? You're not allowed to feed the animal either. And Afal Pikein, we said you're not allowed to feed the animal. And Afal Pikein, we said, but Be'etzim, it has a shame of food. So here also, it also has a shame of food, right? So why in the world should treif meat be any form of muktzah? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. What? No, you didn't throw it in the garbage, right? Why is it muktzah? I'm giving it to the guy. What am I going to do with it? It's even for Ivan or Olga. You're going to bring it with you. What? Shatnez, you're not allowed to give to a guy. We always, you're not allowed to even give it to a guy because we're afraid he's going to give it to a Jew, whatever. Yeah. Unless it's nicker shatnez, that's a different shmooze. Most shatnez is not nicker. Yeah. Sorry. That's how we got to. That's a whole sugya. That's a ganze sugya. That's a shot. What? Yeah, okay. I still don't hear it because it's still oimid for a guy. It's still roy for a guy. Even if you don't, like we said, I'm not giving my bones to the dog, right? And if I peek even if I don't need to have in mind. It's upgrade. I never gave anything in my house ever to a dog, right? And I never will, right? Okay, like that. I don't hear it. It shouldn't be a muktzah at all. That's number one. Number two is food on Yom Kippur. Let me tell you a very interesting shayla. Okay? Listen to the shayla. This is a gishma. Like, somebody asks you, what are you learning? So you tell them muktzah. Muktzah, what's interesting about muktzah? Okay, we had 61 shirim, but I hope there's something interesting there. But he wants to hear something like really weird. So you tell him like this, should I tell you when I told this child? Right? There was somebody from the army that came to daven by the shul about 3 months ago, right? So afterward, he was asking me a whole bunch of shilas and whatever, right? I gave a shiur about Hilchos Muktzah in the shul. It was before we started Muktzah. Yeah, I gave a shiur about Hilchos Muktzah in the shul. Right? So he was asking me a shaila about what I spoke about. Right? And I told him, that's a shaila. I have a much bigger shaila. You live on an army base sometimes, yeah? I told him, what's the halacha of a pacifier, right? A pacifier on an army base. Very negash shaila. Right? Is a pacifier on an army base muktzah? That was the shaila. Right? Is it a good shaila? What? No, is it a good shaila? What's the shaila? The shaila is there's no babies on an army base, and it's not within a tchum. It's not within an area of babies, and nobody in the army base. I hope, right? I hope nobody on the army base needs a pacifier, right? What does it need a pacifier for? What? Oh, so normally a pacifier is a klishim l'akdal heter, right? It's even more. Maybe they were in geyser on it because it's tashmish tadir and whatever. But in an army base, maybe when you have an item which has zero usage in that makim, because what's our lumdus always? Let's say you have the bones, it's roy for dogs and whatever. So let's say you have a pacifier, you don't have a kid, who cares? What's an afganina? It's roy for something, it has a shape of a kli. In an army base, which is outside the tchum, and there's no babies there, I can say with a lot of things. I just picked the pacifier and I picked army base, right? But if you have a place where there's nobody that has any usage for this item, what is this item? It's a useless nothing. It's a totally useless nothing. You think that's a muktzah? What do you say? What? It's not only for that. It's only for a baby. Now what? Somebody accidentally, he came with his baby accidentally got into his luggage on the way to the army base or with his younger brother, right? And he threw it in there by mistake, not as a souvenir to remember me or something with Azar or whatever. No, he put it in there and that's it. Now you have it. What's this? So now it's the muktzah. It has no usage over there. Really? Why not? I told you it might not even be a klishma heter because it could be by us. It's something that's tashmish tadir. We said tashmish tadir is not even that gets the heter of oichel chazal whenever goyzer maybe might be even better. In other words, might be even better. I'm asking maybe it's muktzah gomer because it has no usage. What's the halacha of something which is totally utterly useless? Does it retain its shame kli? Where in this makim it doesn't have a shame kli. What do you guys say? What do you say? What? Sorry. It's still a kli. So now let me tell you where I thought of this shayla. Okay, where I thought of this shayla was that the Shmir Shabbos in the 20th parak, in the 134th ha'ara has a shayla. Food on Yom Kippur is food on Yom Kippur muktzah. So avada, if there's kids around, and avada, even if your neighbors have kids and whatever. So then for shteitzach, it has a shame of an oichel. It has a shame, right? So what's the difference if you have kids? What's the difference if the neighbor has kids? What's the nafkamina? Food is roy and whatever, and has a shame of food, and the kid could eat it, and this and that. Elamai, pikuach nefesh. Pikuach nefesh, Taisus tells us, lo shchiach. So we don't have to chayshish for pikuach nefesh that someone's going to eat on Yom Kippur. Maybe last Yom Kippur, there are a lot of people that are eating because of COVID and whatever. How by next time they won't, whatever. But upon him, you get the point. The point is, if there's people around, then avad it's not muksa. But what if you're on an army base? There it is. What if you're on an army base and it's Yom Kippur and it's not the Yom Kippur War and whatever? So it's everybody's and it's the from ones and whatever, right? So everybody is fasting. Everyone's fasting. Okay. So now what? Is the food muksa? What do you say? So Rav Nebenzahl over here he says on this ha'ara he says it's muksa. It's muksa. He said that food has on Yom Kippur. Now, this is an Isser Davar Acher. This is why it's very intriguing and very Negei Shadnas. It's not an Isser Shabbos, the food, right? It's an Isser Davar Acher. You're not allowed to eat on Shabbos. Yet, it's a Peladik Maisa. Because what's the right from Shadnas? Shadnas is something that's also during the week. Here is something that's not also during the week. Its food is totally not also during the week. This, L'daiti, is unbelievable chumrah. It's not such a Negei case, right? But it's an unbelievable chumrah in concept. Because Avada has the shame of Oichel. The fact that you don't have eaters today, so he says, no, there's no raya from Shabbos. I'm telling you, there's no raya from Shabbos. Shabbos is something that even during the week, there's nothing you can do with the food for sure. Motzei Yom Kippur, you're going to eat, right? So it does have a shame of an oichel on Motzei Yom Kippur. And he's saying that's called muksa, because as of when Shabbos came in, you can't use it for anything. Lefi that, I don't understand that. Sorry? No, it doesn't work like that. If you have food, we saw that technically you could. It's not exeris hakosif, right? Yeah, it's only because food is something that's edible, and Yom Kippur it's not edible, right? It's not exeris hakosif, but the time is much bigger. The time is that it still is a shame of oichel on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? It still is a shame of an oichel. How could you say it doesn't have the shame of oichel? Because today it's like a zaytik isser, and you have no raya from shatnez. But the fear of Nebenzahl, I disagree to this, and they don't have a raya from shatnez. Because the shame oichel is there. It has a shame oichel, and I don't believe that the fact that you are nimna from eating it. At first I thought to myself, we spoke once about medicine. And I said medicine was made for that purpose. Who cares if you have the ability to eat the medicine or don't have the ability to eat the medicine? It's a little bit different because medicine, the pshat is that you're not, it's a little bit different, it's a little bit the same. Medicine on Shabbos, you're not allowed to take. It's a little bit complicated. Medicine, you are allowed to take if you're not sick. If you're not sick, you are allowed to take medicine. It's just that there's no way in the world I'm taking medicine when I'm not sick. Right. So therefore, this medicine, at time I'm sick, I'm allowed to take it. At time I'm not sick, I'm not allowed to take it. I'm allowed to take it, but I'm not going to take it. Ever understand what I said, or I said it too fast? Medicine is something that if you're sick, you're allowed to take. If you're not sick, so then the antibiotic medicine that we spoke about, right? If you're sick, you're allowed to take it. If you're not sick, you're also allowed to take it. You're just not going to take it. And I told you that's not muksa. Because that's what's on it for. The fact that it has no usage today doesn't take away the chefza that it is. I think oichel is doimit to that. Oichel Yom Kippur, you could be mechalek, but I don't think it's a chelek. Oichel is doimit to that. It's something that is be'etzim, a davar which is b'mahusay roi. It's roi to eat. You just aren't going to eat it today because you're not allowed to eat it today. But not mitzad Shabbos. That takes away the shame of the chefza. I don't know. Literally, 1 minute. So what's the nafkamina though? What's nafkamina? According to Rav Nebenzahl, by me it's pashut that it's not muksa. Food is not muksa. But the shaila is like this. The shaila is that the fear of Nebenzahl that it's muksa. So a pacifier in an army base is also muksa. It's the exact same thing. No? Exact same thing. What? Yeah. What's enough kamina? So what? That's not why it's muksa. Karis is not the reason for things being muksa. That's no shaykhs. There's no such thing that because something is karis, he becomes muksa. No such thing. Wait, do you like the kasha? Is it kasha or not? You like the kasha or not? Who likes the kasha? You don't like kasha. Who likes the kasha? Likes the kasha? Yeah? No one likes the kasha? No one likes the kasha? No one likes the kasha? Okay, so I asked the Shalach of Nebenzahl. He liked the kasha. I don't think it's nice. He does have to do tshuva, right? I said to him, it says in the Sefer Yitzchak Yikarei, the Mishabur of Nebenzahl. You like that, right? That it says that the food on Yom Kippur is muksa if it's in a place where there's no children. So I said, so bizarre, if it's came into a pacifier, to Essen, you can come onto a pacifier also. Yeah, so he liked the Shaila. I went there for Rosh Hashanah. This is Erev Elul to get a bracha for my son for his bar mitzvah. And that's why I had that shaila in mind when I asked the Siddharni base, because they like Rav Nebenzahl. So it's nice to quote Rav Nebenzahl. But so I asked Rav Nebenzahl, it's a sheila tova me'od. Sheila tova me'od. What? But in a case where there's no kids around, if there's neighbors that are kids, then it becomes. Yeah. It doesn't stop. I said pacifier because that's whatever. Right? Yeah. What? Okay, yeah, I don't know how far to go, but yeah, I'm saying anything that has no users and whatever. Obviously, the malkim for a chilik is that maybe Yom Kippur because you're not allowed, right? But not allowed is a tema de gazach because who cares that you're not allowed? In pacifier, you're allowed. But Yom Kippur, you could say the food is not allowed, but who cares? That's not the reason to make something into an isser. It's not an isser mitzvah Shabbos, and it's not also during the week. The food is yes allowed during the week. So it's halacha ma'isa. I got to think that it is mutter. He said the sheila tova. No, it's a sheila tova. Sheila tova. What? Like gara then subes gara. No, he's saying it's gara. No, what? That's Stam Pella. That's the kasha I'm asking Rav Nebenzahl. That's a kasha on food. That's a kasha straight on Rav Nebenzahl. Rav Nebenzahl says food is muksa on Yom Kippur. That what you just asked is a kasha straight on him. That's the same kasha I just asked. That on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it is called food. What? Yeah, maybe it's because he holds category 2. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, but I guess he's right. I don't know. Wait, Rabbi said, let me finish. I have only 2 minutes to finish. I'll answer the kashas inside. That's the upstairs when I go inside. Just the 2 more cases. We didn't finish today. What's going to be? 2 more cases. One case is shoes on Yom Kippur. Are shoes on Yom Kippur muksa? Right? Are shoes on Yom Kippur? What? So this is not pasha. This could be that everyone could agree it's not muksa, but it would maybe be a klisha ma'ach l'yeser. Meaning, because shoes and Hanami has a shame during the week. Even on Yom Kippur it has a shame, because you are allowed to wear shoes on Yom Kippur, and not just pikuach nefesh. You're allowed to wear shoes on Yom Kippur if you have to walk through mud and whatever. So you're going to tell me, but I'm not walking through mud, or you're going to tell me I have my what's it called, shoes. 1 second, I have my sandals. Sandals. Yeah, I have my non-leather shoes that I'm going to wear anyways, right? So, but that doesn't take away the fact that it's not a hechleti isser on the shoe. I said this shot asked Rabbi Yashiv, and Rabbi Yashiv said that it's not more than a klisha malach l'isser, but he held it is a klisha malach l'isser. He held it's a klisha malach l'isser because it's not it's not oimid for that. It's not oimid to be used in mud. It's not the normal thing a person is going to do, but it's a clean nonetheless. And it's clean. That's very good. A person wants to know because just like stop move around the shoes and you're given not allowed. It only tzarech gufa, tzarech makoyma or something like that. What? Not sure if they're oimid. I don't think it's oimid because most people, I don't think there's anybody in this room ever in his entire life. I mean, I'm a day older than everybody here, but I don't think there's anybody in this room ever on Yom Kippur wearing leather shoes. Probably not. Probably never will. So it's obviously not oimid to that extent. Right? Another shot is like this. Another shot is a talus that rips on Shabbos. And it ripped, you did a good job. In other words, you ripped off the an oifen that you passed the talus. Passed the talus. So this, I'm not sure. Shevet Levi in Gimel Lamed Aleph, he says that, what did you guys say? I'll let you talk for a minute. What? You're not allowed to wear it. You're not allowed to wear it. You're only allowed to wear it. You only say you're allowed to wear it if it's covered. Like if underneath you are naked, right? So then you're allowed to wear it. But Stam, a person has a towel, is not allowed to wear it. Absolutely not. That's a sheet of the Rishon of the Mordechai that was Soymech on the Makom Kavod Abrius. If there's no Kavod Abrius, if I didn't know allowed to wear it. He has a towel that ripped on Shabbos, not allowed to wear it. What Rabbi Gindi's quoting is that there's a sheet of the Mordechai in Siman Yud Gimel that says that, let's say your talus rips, so why we make all? So he says because Maisa, the mitzvah is vasulachem tzitz, vasul al kanfei b'gdayim is to make tzitzis. On Shabbos there can't be a tzibah to go and make tzitzis, right? So just a moment. So beside, that's why there's no isser to wear it. The only isser of wearing a daled kanfis without tzitzis is when you're being over on not making the tzitzis. If I can't have a tzibah making tzitzis because it's Shabbos, there can't be this. So we don't hold like that sheet of the We only hold like that. B'negeya, that's why if a person's, he's walking around, he's going to get arrested if he took his talus. In those days, it wasn't the talus. It was like, it was the toga, and on the bottom of the toga, He had the 4 strings. So if he takes off the toga because it rips, so that the toga police are going to come and they're going to put him in with a gladiator and whatever. It's going to be gefährlich, right? But what? What? Right? If it ripped rove, so then it's possible, and you're not allowed to sew it together because that's what So it's a shortcut. They could undo it and do it again. You could undo it, but no, you can use it for what? So that, but it's not oimid lekach, right? It's not oimid for that usage. It's not oimid, right? Well, nowadays it's a little bit oimid for that, huh? Interesting. It's interesting. So I'll tell you what the Shevet Levi says. Shevet Levi says in Gimel, maybe you explain the Shevet Levi. In Gimel Lamed Aleph, he says it's chazi for others. Why is it chazi for others? What? But you'd have to, what? Tal she'ula. It's chazi for others because a person that borrows a tal is a big fight. Could be that when he borrows it and it's owned by somebody else, then it yechayev v'titus. So Shai, just a moment. But no. This case is a new Shai. I'm a new case. But upon him, Talis Shula is a big shot. Some hold the Talis Shula, he's allowed to wear the Talis. The other guy, just 1 second, he's allowed to wear the what? His wife. But that's the problem of the Chukasei Musalecha. Unless she's an androgynous. But then he wasn't allowed to marry her. No, he wasn't allowed to marry an androgynous. That's what it says in Ebenezer. Why are you laughing? No, you have to down the kaschos. Sometimes you see by the kaisel all these weird women and they're wearing talesim. You laugh at them and then you have to down the katzot. They're androgynuses or the tumtums, and the Shabura says you have to be machmer, right? Shabura says you have to be machmer. But why are you laughing? It's a real thing. It could be an androgynous, and he has lechatchila doesn't want to. What happens? They go to Shemayim. They tell him he was a man taka. So then they're going to tell him you didn't wear a talis. That's why it, whatever it is, wears a talis, right? That's part. There has to be the pshat, right? Why they wear the colorful ones is probably because they're trying to vice that they're not regular men, because otherwise you come to be Mekadosh them. You know what I mean? So they wear like weird looking talesim. So that's the shot. Akapanim. How are we getting into that? Wait, so the Shevet Alevi, why are you all laughing? This is 100%. I believe this. No, I actually really believe this. I proved to you. I just came out naturally. It's not like I prepared this. It doesn't say here, talk about, But Akapanim, so he says, because it's right for others. Another svar is that, I guess if you have no other clothing, right? And you have to walk around the street, you'd be allowed to wear it also. It's also chazi, right? You're allowed to have clothing. Yourself in the palace and cross the rod skin. What could you do? A man's got to do, What could you do? What happened today? We didn't do it. Huh? Rav Nebenzahl holds it's mamish muktzah machmas gufay. Now the chiluk is because Rav Nebenzahl probably holds that food is mamish. There's an isser to eat the food. It's not going into a pacifier. There's no isser, right? So, but some people, you mean that would be the tzad. But it's a shverzah. Pashtus food is considered a dover be'etzim, and pashtus, a pacifier is a dover be'etzim. It doesn't lose its shame, whatever. But what's going to be? I still have to finish this. I don't know. Should we have Kallus on Friday also? What? We have to do buses already. You guys don't know buses. No, it's okay. We have time. Okay, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay. No, I'm coming in. I'm going to hang out with you guys inside. Upstairs.